What's good, everybody? This is Robo from All Bark, and I'm back with another draft prospect breakdown. Today on the channel, I'm going to be going over one of the top prospects in the draft and one of my personal favorites, Brandon Miller.
Here's the pin down for Miller right on the right-hand side of the screen, in the middle of the floor. They'll set a ball screen. Oh, that's a good play.
Miller takes it strong. Miller with the left off the window.
Brandon Miller is coming off a big-time freshman season where he established himself as the main contributor on offense for Alabama. He ended up landing as a first-team All-American and the SEC Player of the Year on one of the best teams in the nation. He showed a lot of improvement over the course of the year in the areas people criticize him for, like athleticism and finishing, which I'll go ahead and get into later on in the video. It's important to remember he suffered a groin injury a little bit before the tournament, so he didn't end the season the way he wanted to, and that really kind of affected Alabama's impact in the NCAA tournament. This also caused his numbers and his efficiency to dip down a bit just because of poor play, but that really shouldn't take away from the improvement we saw throughout the course of the season from early on into the SEC play. One thing I think is a bit overlooked about Miller's game is his hustle and high energy play. Pretty much every game, no matter the level of opponent, he was locked in and pumping the crowd up, getting his teammates involved. And there were a few times over the season where he rebounded his own missed three, just showing that hustle and ability to rebound the ball from anywhere on the floor. Throughout the season, he made sure he did not miss a single opportunity to get himself some second chance points, even off his own misses. Before we get into some highlights, here's a statistical breakdown of his season as a whole. Starting off a bit with his physical qualities, Brandon is 6'9", 200-pound wing with an unconfirmed 7-foot wingspan. Although it's an area of improvement for Brandon, his athleticism is already a bit better than people give him credit for, and that really shows in some of his film. You definitely want to see him add some strength to his frame over the next year or two, as well as improving his quickness and explosiveness, especially towards the basket. That's a big reason for his occasional struggles at the rim. It's just due to poor elevation in the paint. Now, you may have seen a picture of him from a workout with the Blazers where his vertical actually seems fairly strong. So it's really just going to be about his transitioning that to on-court production and improving his in-game ability to use that athleticism more towards the rim. There's no doubt whichever team drafts Miller will make it a priority to target these areas and ensure he's the best version of himself he can be for them.
Miller leading the break. He'll get it back. The lob.
Top 35 in both offense and defense. They just ran into, watch it. Whoa! Usually spring means football in Alabama. Times have changed.
Brandon's bread and butter is obviously his incredible shooting ability. He's no doubt one of the top shooters in this draft class, and he hits shots in a variety of ways. Overall, on the season, he shot 39% from the perimeter, and breaking it down even further, he shot over 40% on catch-and-shoot threes, as well as 48% on unguarded threes. These numbers come with high volume as he attempted over 200 catch-and-shoot threes on the season.
Left in this game, and there's not enough right now if Arkansas can't create something off their defense. Good.
Miller. Quinterly kicks it. Miller's three.
Got it.
They'll fire.
As you said, do it for your family. Here's Miller. Oh, yes.
And from long range, now it's Sears. Miller, catch, jumper is good.
He's a very confident and gifted shooter, as you'll often see him pull up in transition while trailing behind a lead guard, or even sliding into the corner off the ball during a pick-and-roll action. He's got extended range, shooting from spots deeper than the NBA three on multiple occasions throughout the season at a very high level. He hit a lot of shots off the dribble as well, and despite his efficiency numbers being a bit worse in this area, he clearly has a strong ability to pull up confidently off the dribble, so I don't think that's a cause for concern at all.
One last crack at it. Brandon Miller! Oh! Here's Miller. Step back. And Brandon Miller got a little loud in practice.
But his decisions have been terrific. As I mentioned a second ago, no turnovers so far. 21 minutes.
Back to Miller. Thought about the shot. Ooh. Creating space for himself for the triple. Beyond the hard hat, or do you check that under the plane?
Oh, you carry that on.
Yeah,
it's very valuable.
Miller absolutely feeling it. Draws a lot of attention. Pulls the trigger. Deep three!
And that's exactly what he brings to this team.
That's the secret to finding him. Didn't get a lot of power.
Miller step back three, and that.
Brandon didn't have much volume at all in the mid-range area, which was a bit surprising, as it definitely was a strength of his in high school. You can see that pretty much in any high school tape you watch of him. I think the low volume is definitely due to Alabama's offensive system being largely perimeter-based, as well as just his incredible confidence in his perimeter shooting and his early struggles to get the mid-range going. He shot at around 30% early on in those spots, so he sort of just kind of abandoned it for higher efficiency looks for him, which was the three-point shot for sure. Another area of improvement over the season we saw with Brandon was his finishing at the rim. Overall in the season, he shot just 55% at the rim, including a big-time struggle early on, as he started off around 40% through the first several games of the season. The reason why I'm much less worried about this aspect of his game, though, is because of the drastic improvement he made throughout the middle of the season. As in the bulk of the regular season and all of SEC play, he shot over 65% at the rim, and over 60% overall inside the arc on over 100 attempts, before suffering another decline during the tournament, which was likely due to that groin injury I mentioned before that he was dealing with. I think as his athleticism in terms of quickness and elevation at the rim improves, we're going to see those finishing numbers stick in the 60s. For the majority of his NBA career, I think he can definitely stay around there, as he just got a solid touch at the rim, and he seemed to figure something out with scoring through contact at a higher level compared to early on.
School, Duncanville, Texas. Miller guarded by Black. Length on length. And Miller.
Brandon Miller with the floater.
There were also opposing coaches that talked about his improvement throughout the season, from the first game they saw of him to the second, that they originally wanted him to force him left into the paint, but then he figured it out and they weren't able to stop him later on in the season at the rim. His frame isn't slender like some guys of his prototype are, so adding more strength to that frame won't be too difficult either.
Standing and getting to the front of the rim.
Miller surveys, wants a ball screen, gets one from Bediako. Miller trying to break our 11th tie of the game. Takes it in. Gigi, two of the most highly touted freshmen in the country this year. Miller with three. Miller to the rim. Miller with the left hand.
Double team, lost it. Miller's got it. And here he goes one-on-one with East. And an easy layup for Brandon Miller.
Is Bediako in foul trouble?
Nope. The jump hook.
As a ball handler, Brandon plays with excellent pace. You hardly see him rushed with the ball or thrown off his rhythm. He's very crafty with his dribble, and he knows how to get to his spots with some advanced moves. His go-to moves for getting by a defender are definitely the hesitation dribble and the in-and-out dribble with his left. He used that a lot when deciding to attack the basket, as well as using a wider crossover he showcased more later on in the season. As Miller improves the tightness on his handle, he could be one of the league's better ball-handling secondary scorers at the wing spot and really establish himself as an elite offensive option.
Went to his left to finish.
Wow. In, dance with it. This just leaves Anthony Black in a stance. And Miller now in Alabama. Miller into the paint. Wow. Oh, look how you lost on it. Reach. Miller looked right at the official after that reach. Now he works on Carter, who's banging him, and he fouled him, and he's going to have a three-point play opportunity. Miller all the way to the basket.
In front goes Maryland.
Miller, tough match. Got to get some help.
Huge size advantage. And
the playmaking aspect of Miller's game is an area where he deserves much more flowers for. His 2 assists per game really don't show the level of impact he can have as a secondary playmaker. A big part of what makes him a top 5 pick in this draft is his upside in this area, as he's much more than a shooter. He's very fluid off the dribble in traffic and finds the open man in some creative ways, occasionally throwing no-look passes and threading the needle through difficult to navigate traffic in the paint. He also did a great job playmaking off the pick and roll with his big man and showed the ability to throw accurate lobs and good entry passes with enough velocity to avoid crashing help side defenders. His biggest strength as a passer is definitely his ability to throw accurate and strong passes across the court with either hand after being doubled on the drive. A few times he was able to make a strong pass through 2 trap defenders as well.
And it is Miller, the dish, the flush.
The Crimson Tide take it away. Here goes Miller. Nice looking.
Off the floor, good handle. Miller, no look. Crowd is in a frenzy.
There you go with that left, the diagonal pass. Pretty good catch.
And Miller, Sears thought about it. Wow. Pull it, feed.
Defense is another solid area for Miller. With his length and focus, there's no doubt he'll be a solid defender at the next level. I don't see him being an all-NBA level defender like some of the other guys in this class, but he is absolutely a positive impact on that side of the ball, especially as a help side shot blocker. This is an area where he really showcases his vertical, which is why I have less pause in that area of athleticism for him. As a defender in the NBA, I think Brandon will have the ability to guard the 2, 3, and 4, as he's got great switchability and is reliable in terms of keeping guys in front of him and contesting shots. He's got pretty active hands and will definitely be a type of guy who's tough to pass through, as his length disrupts passing lanes pretty frequently, and he's very aware of where the ball's going while keeping his focus on his man and not losing him through screens.
Play. Keyshawn Johnson volleyballs it. Rejected by Miller.
Knows he's never going to get two hands on that ball, but what does he do? He triggers.
Overall, Miller is one of the best shot makers in this class, and is pretty versatile offensively in terms of his handle and shooting ability. I think the improvement we saw in the numbers as a finisher show a lot about his ability to adapt and adjust, and he should find a way to be a reliable finisher in the NBA once he gets through that adjustment period, and from there it's just going to be about improving the quickness and explosiveness at the rim. But athletically, I think he's a better athlete than people give him credit for. I see Miller's ceiling as a potential multiple-time All-Star and a big impact second option for a contender that can get it done on both ends as well as a secondary playmaker. The guys in the league that I think fit Miller best as a comparison in that sense is Chris Middleton. I think there's a clear comparison there to Paul George to be made, although he's not quite the same athlete as Paul was. But all around, the two-way game comparison is there for sure. Another name I think fits Miller's game pretty well is Danny Granger, a guy who many know could have been an elite player for a long time had he stayed healthy. I definitely think Miller will end up either a Charlotte Hornet or a Portland Trail Blazer on Thursday night, but I guess we'll have to see what happens then. That's going to be it for this breakdown, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, and subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.